Welcome to What's Up Poland, the regular news show about Poland. And this is the story of how I went to one of the main refugee centers in Warsaw at the Torvar Exhibition Center. So it's a big, great arena. We're going to go straight away to the first film I took when I got there. Editor Philip.
So I'm here in the centre of Warsaw at the Torvar Exhibition Centre, which has been temporarily turned into a refugee collection point. You can see here the prams that have been left by Warsaw mothers and Warsaw families for people to collect. There's chocolate everywhere. I mean, you're not lacking for chocolate in this place, but it's pretty calm. There's a lot of people passing through. What I would say is that the organisation here is pretty good, and I understand that people are sleeping here. I'm just waiting to take a lady to another refugee point and having a look around.
So that's exactly right. I had gone there because I'm part of a drivers group. There's about 50, mostly guys on it, that are going back and forth picking up the refugees from the border. I've only done one run myself, and then I got incapacitated at home. I had to stay at home because my wife was at the border and my grandparents got COVID, my parents-in-law, so the grandparents of my kids. And I was stuck at home with my kids. And I was so frustrated and angry. But luckily, I am now out of quarantine. The grandparents are okay. The kids have got COVID. But I was able to go to Torvar to ferry one of the refugees from one point to another point. But the story didn't quite go like that.
Sorry, just been roundly told off for filming here. I've just gone off to a quiet corner. So I just spoke to one of the volunteers here, Maria, who says she's been doing 15-hour days. And she says that the volume of the people at this particular place hasn't declined in the slightest. There's 500 people here sleeping at the moment. Most of them tend to spend 2 or maybe 3 days here before they move on. And Maria is one of the volunteers who's helping people to get to another location. So I'm going to drive a lady to the train station. She's going to then buy her ticket to Berlin, which is wise because it's going to be tomorrow. And of course, the queues there are absolutely enormous. Then she's going to come back here, spend one night here before heading on to Berlin.
So I picked up that lady. I went into the actual area where the refugees were, and I helped one family first. So I went inside the place of his sleep. It's my first time when I've ever been inside a refugee center. You know, you see them on TV in faraway places, I guess, from a point of view of where I live, you know, places like Syria, etc. And to go inside a place like that, it's quite a strange experience. So the lady who brought me in to help pick up the luggage to take to the car said, you know, just keep it quiet. And we went in, it was quite dark. There were lots of heavy drapes. So it wasn't loud. It wasn't like a typical basketball court where you can hear every sound. It was quite quiet. And I think people were respecting the silence. And I went and helped the family pick up their quite heavy bags. How they got those across the border, just the three of them, small girl, kind of boy and a mum, I don't know. And I noticed something really amazing. There were all these flowers in little flower pots. And I turned to the lady who was with me from the volunteers. And I said, what's all this about? And she said, don't you remember? It was Jen Kobiet. It was Women's Day yesterday. So we gave all the women in the this refugee point these flowers. And it really made my heart just melt because it was such a lovely gesture. So what can I say? You've seen from the heart of the Torvar area. I did get told off, but I think you'll see that I didn't film anyone in particular. And I think it's okay to show what I have shown, which is the story of Maria and Ola and these families going across. I then went to Dworzec Centralny, so the main Warsaw railway station. And maybe, Editor Philip, if you can show a little bit of my visit there.
Okay, so I just got told off for filming at the refugee centre at Torvar, but I think I can film here legally because this is the train station. So I'm going to show you guys a few scenes here. I know a lot of you are saying, what does it actually look like here? And as you can see, the train station is never normally this busy. There's volunteers absolutely everywhere. I don't want to show too many people, obviously, out of privacy for them. But I'm just going to wander around. You can probably hear from the noise how many people are here. So I've just driven a family from the refugee point to this station. They're going to go to to Gdansk, where they have a friend. There's a whole bunch of kids here just sitting on blankets in the middle. When I came here on Tuesday to drop off a refugee that I'd taken from the border, this place was pretty quiet. Comparing now to how it is now is a big difference. There's lots of volunteers here, and I want to say I've just been speaking to the volunteers. They're working 16-hour days. Some of them are working 24-hour days, helping people completely for free. This is all for free, and there's so many people here that they've had to open up a whole bunch of tents over the way to try and cope with the number of people here. The actual queue for the ticket was pretty short. And I double checked and it says that anyone with a Ukrainian passport, anyone who's a refugee, is actually going to get sent for free on the train to Berlin or to Prague. I've just driven them over as well. First people complaining is, you know, if you want to get anything free, just have to show Ukrainian passport. I have to admit, the thought didn't occur to me, but the point is these people are war refugees. It's exactly what you want if you were a refugee from war. So I can see there's an orange SIM card centre over there. People are getting SIM cards for free, and I had a conversation with one of the volunteers about what it's like to give people for free the whole time. It's a really awkward and weird situation in which, you know, they're both in need, but they don't want to be helped at the same time, because these are people who are right up until now which is normal people living their lives, and it's not comfortable for them to be in that situation. So I'm wandering around the main train station now. It's a lot louder and busier than it was a week ago. I can see, for example, the family that I was helping just get here now. Of course, it's slightly chaotic, as you can imagine. You can see some volunteers there as well. Police officers too. Anyway, the reason why I'm doing this video is because a lot of you were asking what does it actually look like here. These were some of the busy points. You have to remember, the vast majority of over 1 million people who've come to this country in the last 11 or 12 days are not here. They're not in refugee camps, they're not in distribution points, they're in Polish homes. They're in people's apartments and flats and houses, and, you know, as comfortable as they can possibly be, because they're in someone's home and they're being looked after. I went into the refugee point earlier, I'm just coming out now, and the places where they were sleeping, and I have to say you wouldn't want to sleep in there unless you absolutely had to. It's still comfortable, I guess, by refugee camp standards, but you wouldn't want to be there. I mean, it's in a giant hall with 500 other people. So I've just come out now. I'm out in the city centre. It's a wet, bleak, miserable day. I've been able to help one family to get on their journey. They were talking about schooling and stuff like that. I can understand a bit of Ukrainian now. They were talking about the schooling and things like that, but I just don't want to bother them, you know. There's no point getting into a jolly conversation. You don't know who they've left behind. You don't know who they're worried about. You don't know whether they're checking Telegram every 5 minutes to find out if someone's bombed the place where they live, because that's the reality for these people. I was driving on Tuesday with one family, and that's what she was doing. Every time Kiev was attacked, she was worried that her dad was going to be in a place where it was bombed. That's a pretty gruesome thing to think about. All right, guys, I'll catch you later.
So as you can see, the Warsaw, so the main Warsaw railway station, quite a busy place, a lot louder, a lot more chaotic, I guess, because it's a place that lots of people pass through. I saw people exhausted sitting on the seats. The queue for the tickets wasn't so bad. And I later took another family or a couple of mothers to another railway station and found out that you can still get tickets a couple of days in advance. So it's not so booked up as I thought it would be. But boy, oh boy, was that railway station absolutely jam-packed. I've heard different reports at the railway station in particular of there not being enough food, not enough hot water. Unfortunately, the weather as we get into March hasn't got much warmer. In fact, it's got colder. And they've had to put on extra tents outside the main railway station to look after these refugees. Well, look, I wanted to share this story with you because I know a lot of people have been writing to us and saying, hey, it's great that finally someone's showing what it's like on the ground. We'll try and do as much of that as possible. And I have to say, I'm sometimes a bit disappointed because I think that people don't understand what an amazing thing is happening here in Poland. But you'll have to watch more episodes of What's Up Poland to find out why I think that. So I'll see you again for another episode of What's Up Poland. Make sure you share this video wherever you find it and check out more.